Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zach F1 channel, and in today's episode I will be bringing you my initial reactions that I had for the liveries, all 10 of them coming out. I'll be talking a little bit about the F1 livery events, some things they did good and some things they did bad, and then I'll also be giving my rankings for all of the 2025 liveries, as now we have seen every single one of them. But anyway, if you like what you see, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subs by the end of March, and it would mean a lot to me if you could support the channel. Let's get straight into it. So, I think I have to start off with how I felt with the whole event. Now, I'm a bit conflicted with it all, because one thing I thought they did do well is the whole things before the car came out. I'll get to a few of them, but most of the time, when it was Ferrari's one showing the cars through the years, McLaren's one was fine as well. You had Mercedes one. When it was like those sorts of montages, I quite liked the Red Bull one as well. They were fun. I understood what they were trying to get across. However, you had ones like Alpine, where it must have been like 10-15 minutes with this DJ on. Was it really necessary? No. So there was a lot of dragging along in places where it didn't really need to be put. The same thing goes for a lot of the celebrity guests. I love Gordon Ramsay, and I actually thought what he said was quite funny. Obviously, he swore, they tried to cut him off, which was a great laugh. But at the end of the day, what it meant was that there was, well, from what I saw, maybe it wasn't because of that and it was just how they planned it, it meant that we saw less of the cars. And I thought the whole point of this event was to be showing off the 2025 cars. And I'm not kidding you, for some of the cars, you barely even saw them. Red Bull, for instance, I don't think we got a single side shot, a proper side shot, near the car. And even when we got a glimpse of the car, there was about 1 million people crowding it. So it was one of those things where I physically, actually, after the event, I had to go and have another look at some of the liveries. They just didn't show enough of it. I really thought they showed the car, and then within a minute it was gone. I really wanted to see a lot more of the side view close up, maybe a faraway shot of the car, but I just wanted to see every detail of the car, and I just don't think we got that. Maybe, especially with the Red Bull car, it's because they're trying to hide something and they were like, yo, please don't show the full car, just try to keep it far away so we're not giving it away. But I just don't think that would be the case, because at this point of the season, if they had anything crazy on the car, it's too late for the other cars to replicate it until the next few races, and by that point they would have seen what it was, because they will see it in testing in a week and a half's time. So it was all a bit confusing to me how little of the cars they showed, which I generally did think going into it would be the whole premise of the show. So overall, I get it, it was a bit of fun, but it was a bit over the top and I would have preferred to see more of the cars. I think that's the biggest criticism I can give it. But overall, I will say I still enjoyed watching it, because I'm a sucker for anything F1 related. They could literally put out a turd with the F1 logo on it and I'd probably still enjoy it. But enough about the event, let's talk about the liveries. And the first one that came up was Sauber. First of all, in the livery, it looks okay, nothing crazy. I don't hate it, but I can't say I love it. 100%, I'd just put it middle ground sort of thing.
I mean, what can you say? It's green. I mean, for those that are watching, it's a green car, really.
Now, for me, it's a pretty boring car. There's nothing crazy to it. I kind of hate when the lower teams always do this. I mentioned this on the live stream over at Double Pivot. I'll link that live stream so you can watch it if you want to see more of my initial reactions. I'll be putting them in this video as well. I've always thought, if you're not going to win races, try and win the beauty contest. See what you can do with the car. Experiment. Because there's one thing that's worse than an ugly car, and it's a boring car. And that is exactly what Sauber is, and that's why they go 10th for me. I'm seeing the car. It looks very similar to last year. Oh no, hang on. Okay, so I'm seeing it on the side now. It's a lot more blended in. I don't know if I prefer that actually. Williams, well done. Now, I think I was actually a bit on the fence when I first saw the car, because when I saw how blended it was, I was like, okay, sometimes it looks a bit tacky when it's so blended and it's merging with multiple different shades, but they kept the same colour scheme from last year. It's a very similar car. However, looking back from the 2024 car to the 2025 car, both together, I am definitely looking more towards the 2025 car looking better, which I didn't actually think I would say until I had another look at the 2024 car. I do think the blend works for the Williams. I still like the placement of the Duracell sponsor. I think it's quite fun and unique. Overall, Williams, I just love the colour scheme they've got going for them at the minute. So for me, very good from Williams, and it goes 4th place.
Red Bull or Racing Bull? Just change the name. Yeah, it's very striking.
I quite like that.
I like it.
Oh, I've just seen their wing as well.
Racing Bulls. Now, I am a sucker for big livery changes, and that is exactly what happened over at Racing Bulls. Now, I will admit, is it just the Japanese special Red Bull livery? Yes, but Red Bull love doing this thing of don't fix what ain't broken, because that livery was brilliant, and I'm so excited to see it on a car. I also think the yellow and red front wing right on the nose works perfectly with the Red Bull logo. Same at the top of the car. I just think it works so well. And again, they're trying something different. They're trying something extravagant. Like, who would have thought they had bulls emerging out of the backside of the car, sort of like racing bulls. I'll see what they're doing. And I just love that, because I'd rather teams like Racing Bulls experiment and see what they can do. And this time it worked out perfectly. And honestly, I have to say, this is by far my favourite livery of this season. It goes 1st place.
It looks similar. They haven't shown anything else bar the front of it. Oh, I quite like. I like the red outlines, but I'm surprised why they cut off the red and black halfway down the wing. I feel like
with
that
a bit of white.
Sort of go a bit. Yeah, but I like the white on the chassis.
Haas F1. They were so close, and I mean so close, to being one of my favourite cars on the grid. I really love the black on the top and the white on the bottom. I think it's a brilliant contrast. Black and red on an F1 car looks brilliant. Black and red on anything looks fantastic. So you really can't go too wrong with this car. And I still love the Haas F1 car. There's just a small thing that I can't keep not looking at that just looks extremely weird on the car. So, feast your eyes on the front wing. It looks okay, right? But something's missing. Why does the black and red just stop halfway down the wing? It just looks weird, because then you get to the end of the front wing and it then goes back to black and red. I really do think it's one of those things where you can have a bit of a white outline, sure, whatever, but continue that black and red all the way down, and I think that looks 10 times better. Considering also they'd been having the white at the bottom, it's then a bit weird to have that white top there. It really does push down how good the car looks, and it was just so close. If they did that tiny little change, I think for me that would have been perfect. So because of this, I still love the car, but it's got to go 3rd place.
I don't know how big of a fan I am of that. Of course, they've got to have pink in for BWT, but I don't know about the full. They are either the full blue on the side of the car, a little bit less, or put some more blue on the front wing so that it blends a bit better. I don't know. I don't think it blends that well.
I honestly have a lot to say about this car. Now, you know how I mentioned lower teams going for something extravagant? It's much better than being boring. Well, this is the opposite of Racing Bulls. This is what happens when you do something like that and don't get it right. I just still to this day don't think blue and pink work together as colours. Now, you can make it work better, but one has to be the dominant colour. It doesn't work. The blue chassis mixed with the pink nose, it just contrasts too differently and doesn't work. Now, they've got to have pink in their car because of BWT. That's a no-brainer. But what they've got to do is either add more pink so the front wing splurges into the sides of the car, or maybe a bit more, or maybe there's a bit of pink on the top, or maybe it goes down to the bottom, just anywhere. But when the pink just stops at the front wing and then it's all just blue basically until the back of the car where there's a bit more pink, it doesn't work. And then you could do the opposite where, okay, if you don't want that much pink on the car, do more blue on the front wing, a bit less pink, and that would work. But for me, I generally do think it's going to be a Marmite car. It doesn't work for me, but I can see the appeal. I do like a shiny car in F1 because a lot of the teams have gone for a matte approach over the years. And I used to really enjoy that, but once you get used to something for quite long, you quite yearn for the thing you missed, and I do like a glossy look, which does help it a little bit. But this, again, extravagance doesn't work. It's worked out the opposite for them. But at least it's not a boring car, and that is why it's still better than Sauber, but it has to go 9th.
Ooh,
Oh my word.
quite classy.
No. I've just seen the side of the car, and they've got like that, I don't know what color that is. It's like a light green, yellowy.
Mm.
When you see it coming, if they had that fully connecting the black bit, like separating the full green to the black, I think that would have looked better. But
I like it.
doesn't look too bad.
Aston Martin. Now, for me, again, I'm a sucker for British Racing Green. I just think it's such a great colour and a colour scheme to work with, especially on an F1 car. So Aston Martin, no matter what they do, is always going to look pretty good for me. I do think the black on the car maybe goes up a bit high up on the sides, and I also think the lighter green outline should sort of like separate the two black and greens, which they almost do, but then it cuts off. I also really like the rear wing of it blending in with the darker green and the lighter green. And I would actually say, again, looking at a 2024 car compared to this car, I think the 2025 car does look better. They haven't done anything extravagant, but for me, this time round, it doesn't matter too much. And that's why Aston Martin goes 2nd place.
From the front wing view, I can't see many changes just yet. Okay, there's the side. Now, I don't think I can complain that much.
Got a
Boring
very
just
different
because
front
it's
wing.
the same.
Mercedes. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of the 2024 livery, so I think you can pretty much tell where this is going to be going, because Mercedes have gone for the Red Bull approach of trying not to change their livery, and it's just not the best for me. You have to make sure the livery looks fantastic if you're going to do something like that. And with the Mercedes, it doesn't work for me. I don't like how it's silver at the front and then blends to a black. I much prefer when Mercedes either pick a colour scheme of black, the primary colour, or silver, the primary colour, and then they have that bit of the blue Mercedes like stripes down it. If that was the case, would look perfect, but when it's trying to get all of those elements working together, it doesn't work well. So it's got to go 7th for me.
Because with the Red Bull, it really is looking for what parts look different. We knew delivery was going to be the same.
Red Bull time, and shocker, the car looks exactly the same. Now, we knew the livery was going to be no different. It would be silly to think that they were going to do absolutely drastic changes. Now, they get away with it, sort of, because their drastic changes come with experimenting, I guess, with racing bulls. This is an instance of don't fix what ain't broken that actually works. The Red Bull car still looks nice, so I can't complain. Is it boring keeping the same exact car every season? Yes, considering you could do tiny changes, like changing it to a glossy car, then back to a matte, or adding a few Red Bull like yellow bits, or maybe a darker shade of purple. You know, there's a few things that they could change with the car every season that they could do, but you know, I still can't complain. I love the way that car looks, so it's got to go a solid 5th place.
Oh, I think they've gone for a darker shade of red. They've definitely gone for more white this time.
Yeah.
Oh,
like actually
whoa. Look at the side of
actually,
it.
yeah.
They've very much gone for a lot more white. I don't know how I feel about that. That's a lot of white for a Ferrari. I guess they've done it before in the past.
Oh, Ferrari. Now, I will give it its good points for right now. Do I think the white works with the HP logo? I think it suits the car much better than just having the blue then going straight to the red. I don't think the blue and the red really work well when it's like that. But my God, are they overcompensating? You do not need that much white to show the HP logo. And I feel like that's exactly why they put it in. There's got to be no other reason. And again, you're going to see a trend in this list, and you're going to see a trend, you know, in the next car coming up. But I am not a big fan of vertical lines on an F1 car. I just don't think it works. Horizontal is always the way to go. You could have had that white stripe on the Ferrari on the top of the car going horizontal with the HP logo there. And I think that would have looked fantastic. We've seen Ferrari do this in the past, and that looks brilliant. But vertical on F1 cars just looks jagged and weird, and I just never think it blends properly with the rest of the car. And that's a big issue. Now, is it going to be as bad as the green on the Ferrari car, which they once had? No. But it's not my favourite. I really like the shade of red they've gone for, but go more horizontal and make it a bit more thin, and you've got it going. But for me, Ferrari have to go 6th place for this.
McLaren-wise, is that a bit of blue I can see, or is that just a reflection?
No, I think that's blue on the halo.
Okay. Oh yeah, they have. Okay. Well, that's not me, right? Oh no, and there's a bit of purple. So so they've added a bit more chrome feeling to it, but bar that, it's the same livery.
And then we have McLaren F1. This one hurts. Because, of course, as a McLaren fan, I'd love to put them in first place, but I can't be biased towards this. And it's one of those things where I put my hands up and say 2024's McLaren livery wasn't my favourite. So I think you know where this is going. 2025 car is the exact same. It's a very similar situation to Mercedes. They've gone for the Red Bull route of not fixing anything because they thought, hey, we've got a good livery now, let's see what happens. But I just don't think that livery's a good enough livery to stick around. Now, yes, they've added a few of the Google Chrome colours, like you've got a bit of blue, bit of purple, but overall, again, it's those vertical stripes. I just don't like it. Make them horizontal, or make the car less black, because it's boring, and it's merging on the more ugly side. I'm just not a big fan of it. Of course, part of me would love to have a bit of chrome in the car always as well. It always gets confusing because you've got the chrome colour scheme, which is the Google Chrome, and you've also got the chrome colour, which McLaren could have both. So you could have a chrome car with chrome. But overall, that's why McLaren can't go anywhere above 8th place. But that is the end of my rankings and going through a bit of the F1 live event. Now, I know it was a one-off, so we're not going to see it again. And I do like when the teams do their own car liveries. They do make it go on for a bit. But livery-wise, I'm a bit disappointed this season. There's not a lot of changes. Realistically, even though Alpine, I don't like it, I'm happy they've tried something. Sauber, very disappointed with. It's just so boring. The biggest ones I'm a bit annoyed about are Sauber, McLaren, Mercedes. They've just gone boring and they don't really work for me. Like I said, Alpine, it just looks ugly, but I could see what they were trying to do. But RB, Aston Martin and Haas, hands down to them, they look really good. But anyway, what do you all think in the comments down below? What do you think are the best liveries in F1 this season? What do you think of my rankings? What do you think of my initial reactions? Do you think I was spot on? Or hey, give me your thoughts down below. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Take care and have a good one.